During his speech yesterday in North Carolina, President Biden joked about his age and said, quote, "I know I'm only 40 years old times 2 plus 1. Then he got a little bummed out about how long it took the audience to laugh. Okay, so 440 times 2, that's... Oh, okay.
This is why we're $34 trillion in debt. Democrats and math do not go together like carrots and peas. Not even close. Well, happy Thursday. And welcome. Welcome back. The Washington Free Beacon today. One of our great newspapers in Washington, D.C., Truth Seekers. Joe Biden's political origin story is almost certainly bogus. It may land him in legal trouble. Turns out he not only lies, he lies about his lies. He lies about lying. And he's been nabbed again. Got that going. We've also got, scholarships and, the Democrats base everything on race. I want to get to the George Floyd event. And of course, the Smithsonian Institution opens Latinx, their Latinx internship program to all races, because they're facing a legal challenge. And it turns out it's illegal to base everything on race, even though the Democrats like to do everything that's illegal, and they like to base everything on race. So we got some of that coming up. We've got lots of stuff. We got Biden. We got Democrats. We got news media and fake media. They're not news media, but they are. Whoopi Goldberg and the gang at The View are actually paid by ABC News. That show is part of the ABC News division. I think it's because it makes money and the news division loses money, so they can take money from this pie and spend it on that pie. But I want to share some wackiness with you because these people are out of their minds. We also got an update on that illegal alien that posted videos about how he's going to squat in people's houses in the United States because Florida now, under Ron DeSantis, have actually made it illegal to steal people's homes. That's pretty crazy, huh? Crazy. And the Democrats, including Joe Biden and Barack Obama and Bill Clinton in New York for a big money fundraiser with fake famous people, but lots of money. And President Trump will instead be going to the funeral that will be held today for a police officer who was murdered at the age of 31 by a career criminal that the Democrats kept putting back on the street. Blood on their hands. Jonathan Diller was murdered, leaving his young wife and young child. And President Trump will be there. He already contacted the family. Joe Biden has not, because, Joe Biden and the Democrats are on the side of the cop killers, not the cops. But let's get back to Karen Johnson. Karen Johnson here, because she's always a hoot. Karen Johnson is perhaps better known as Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg has a TV show. She chose Goldberg because she figured, hey, the Jews run Hollywood. This will be good for me. And she didn't want to be a Karen, so she became Whoopi, ironically. She is Karen Johnson, and she doesn't like people. That's for sure. Now let's go to this audio because Whoopi on her television show on the ABC television network yesterday, she has come to the conclusion that space aliens are among us. There are space aliens everywhere. And it's not, she knows that there are illegal aliens all over New York. But she's much more concerned about space aliens because they're all mental cases, I think, is the real explanation for that. Here's the headline from Entertainment Weekly. Whoopi Goldberg confirms space aliens are among us, : they love their colons. Quote, they're already here. And, quote, they're watching us. Now, what she's hoping that they're watching because she's got a TV show and, it requires ratings to stay on the air and all that stuff. Whoopi Goldberg, View moderator, intergalactic Star Trek queen, an anti-cactus warrior, shades cacti, has done what the United States government has never dared in its nearly 250 years of existence: confirm extraterrestrial life has made contact with humanity. The amazingly Oscar-winning actress, she has an Oscar, and apparent intergalactic explorer told her co-hosts Wednesday that she is fully aware that aliens are among us on Earth. Maybe she is talking about gang members released from prisons in Venezuela. After View guest and Ghostbuster franchise star Namal Najani said he believes that he believes in space-dwelling beings. So they're talking about they're not very bright people. And on The View yesterday with Namal, do you know Namal?
Kumail Nanjiani.
Oh, it's Kumail. It's Kumail. I'm sorry, it's Kumail Nanjiani. You know him because you follow space things. You're kind of a spaceman yourself. Are you from another? Here is Whoopi and Namal.
I think aliens are like circling us, waiting for us to get it together.
Yes.
So they can come on down. You know, like when you have company and you're like, would you please recycle the beer bottles? People are showing up and be like humans to each other this election cycle. Can we do that?
Yes.
I think they're waiting for us to like clean up a little bit so that they can come here and tell us we're really messing things up.
They're already here.
Oh, I should.
They're here already.
They're already. They've been here for quite some time.
You think they're here?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And what are they doing?
They're watching us.
They're talking to Whoopi.
They're watching us?
She talks to ghosts, not aliens. Duh. The movie was ghosts, not aliens.
She's saying it. She's saying it.
I got you, girl.
Sure, they're here. They're already here. They're watching us. She knows. And media report here, left-wing media. Whoopi confirms. We've been waiting for confirmation. And it might explain Whoopi Goldberg, actually, if Whoopi Goldberg were a space alien. It would explain her head, for example, just to name one of the things that it would explain. Whoopi and the gang at The View. Extraordinary. And the left-wingers at Mediaite have a story today as well. The headline is, quote, "He's not a Republican, !" end quote. Things turn tense on The View after Sonny Hostin asks guest Coleman Hughes about being a pawn of the right. A pawn of the right. Things turned a bit tense on The View when Sonny Hostin, Sonny and Whoopi and Joy, ironic. When Sonny Hostin asked guest Coleman Hughes about being a pawn of the right, only to immediately have the co-host push back on her. Hughes joined The View on Wednesday to promote his book, The End of Race Politics, in which he argues for a colorblind approach to politics and culture. Hughes also hosts a podcast, naturally, and because on CNN. So he's got a podcast on CNN, and he's got a book that nobody cares about called The End of Race Politics, which we had James Carville the other day, longtime Democrat, drag a $100 bill through a trailer park Democrat. And he is saying, the Democrat Party is too hung up on race. They're way too hung up on, we got to stop making everything about race. And we just spent much of the last hour talking about Brandon Scott, the mayor of Baltimore, who's a black guy making everything about race, with Joy Reid on MSDNC making everything about race and about being straight and Christian, because they're bigoted against straight people, obviously, against white people, obviously, and against Christians because they're Democrats. And they also hate the Jews. They hate the Jews, but they do love Hamas. So Sonny Hostin first accused Hughes of having a premise, the end of race in politics, that's fundamentally flawed. And Martin Luther King, of course, said we'd like to be judged by the content of our character and not the color of our skin. The Democrats have thrown that out. The man that shot Martin Luther King and killed him, of course, was a Democrat Party presidential campaign volunteer, something that the left has been able to erase from history. That's not in the books that, you learn about Martin Luther King in college. You can study the Martin Luther King assassination for months and never find out that James Earl Ray was a volunteer campaign volunteer for the presidential campaign of Democrat Governor George Wallace, who was a racist, like all Democrats even to this day. Isn't it amazing? Just extraordinary. So let's go to Sonny Hostin attacking their guest, their invited guest, who is, of course, a Democrat and a CNN stooge, and his name is Coleman Hughes.
Your argument for color blindness, I think, is something that the right has co-opted. And so many in the black community, if I'm being honest with you, because I want to be, believe that you are being used as a pawn by the right and that you're a charlatan of sorts.
He's not a Republican.
So how do you...
He's never voted for a Republican.
You said that you're a conservative.
No.
No, you did. You actually said that
No, you did.
podcast that you did 2 weeks ago.
I said I was a conservative.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. Well, and the guy is completely befuddled, completely confused. I said I was a conservative, but I'm not a conservative. I've never said I was a conservative. My CNN podcast is not conservative. I'm not conservative. And she, Sonny Hostin, is attacking the idea of a colorblind society because the Democrat Party demands and insists that we be anything but colorblind in the United States of America because, you know, they are color aware in absolutely all things, DEI and critical race theory, CRT, and in hiring and in firing and in who you admire and who you don't is all based on race, thanks to the party of the KKK, the Democrat Party, thanks to the party of the Confederate States of America and Jefferson Davis. Just extraordinary, just amazing stuff, I've got to say. And you heard her objecting to the idea, you know, the idea of a colorblind society is being co-opted by the right. Well, first it was co-opted by Martin Luther King. Anybody remember that? They have no memory of anything. They have no awareness of history. It's amazing stuff. You said you're and everybody at the table saying, no, he's not. He's not. He's never voted Republican once. They're saying they all know what his voting history is. You know, he's never voted Republican once. You said you were a conservative on a podcast. I did. And he's like, no, I didn't. I know I've never said that because I'm not. And I've never said I wouldn't be on this show. You wouldn't have invited me. But let's continue down the dumb hole.
There's no evidence that I've been co-opted by anyone. I have an independent podcast. I work for CNN as an analyst. I write for the Free Press. I'm independent in all of these endeavors, and no one is paying me to say what I'm saying. I'm saying it because I feel it.
Do you?
Okay, hold on. We're taking we got to go to break.
Hold on. We got to go to it because we got to get out of here. And they bailed on the whole thing. And okay, was he like gone when they came back? Because that's your Democrat Party. But Sonny wanted to get on the record as opposing a colorblind society because she self-describes as a liberal. Know what I'm talking about? Just amazing. I am telling you. Yeah. All right. Let's grab. That's just our media, and again, ABC News, the news division, pays these people on The View millions of dollars a year to be racists, anti-American, misguided, misinformed morons, or maroons, as Bugs Bunny might say. And they're malevolent and malignant, and they're bad people. They're not good people. All right, let's grab a phone call. Let's go to Peter calling from Chicago, Illinois, where the land of the great WLS resides. Peter, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
All right. What was it? Since Joe Biden's president of the United States, what type of space aliens will begin? Probably the Zanti. You know, that Outer Limits episode? And there'll be criminals, all of them, with corrupt prison guards.
The space aliens? You're saying Joe Biden is going to wave in the space aliens, and when the space aliens come in under Joe Biden, that they're all going to be criminal gang members, just like the illegal aliens that Joe Biden is waving into the country.
Yeah. All I have to do to know how it's going to turn out is watch the episode of the Outer Limits, the Zanti. Now, you know they're going to kill a couple of U.S. citizens. You know they're going to go to war with the United States Army. And then when they're worried that they might be in trouble, they say, we knew you were going to kill them because we don't kill them.
I think that the Biden administration would welcome space aliens into the United States and give them gift baskets and tell them to squat in people's homes. And I've got squatting coming up, too, because finally somebody did something about it, and it's Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida doing the right thing. And we've got this illegal alien, I hear he's on the run now, who's posting videos on the internet about stealing people's homes, squatting in people's homes. Man, oh, Manischewitz, I am telling you. We've got that coming up. And Joe Biden. We've got Joe Biden and Latinx. You know, he loves, well, it's Latinx to him. We've got that. And the funeral for a murdered New York City police officer, which Donald Trump will attend, while Joe Biden, Obama, and Clinton are at a fundraiser. Sure. In New York City. 888-630-9625. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. Yes. Yeah, we got Joe Biden. We've got New York. We've got politics. We've got a lot coming up. Let's take another phone call, Michael. Let's go to our friend Jason calling from Kensington, Maryland. Jason, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
G'day, Chris. How you going, mate?
Just great. How about you?
Pretty good, mate. Yeah, this DEI stuff's amazing. Like, it's I guess it only applies to non-whites. I mean, if you're white, you're not sort of included in that group of races. I guess we're not a race. We're just sort of a net or whatever it is. I mean, I remember once a job I went for at I won't say it, but it was in a pretty well-known Australian restaurant as a bartender. Figured I'd give themselves some authenticity, and they said, "Well, we'd like to sort of hire a broader range of people." I said, "Well, I know you don't have any Australians working here. I figured you might want some Australian working here." And they said, "Well, yeah, but you're still Caucasian." So, I guess it just depends on the skin color, not so much where you're from. But,
wow, for an Australian restaurant.
Yeah, and I won't say, well, I mean, it's a pretty well-known Australian restaurant. But
wow.
Yeah, and it's funny because you just kind of figure that, like you said, Martin Luther King, I mean, he wants inclusiveness. I guess inclusiveness doesn't include us. But
yeah, I think that maybe the E is for exclusion.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, on a sad note, I'm returning to Australia. My father passed away a couple of days ago, so I'm going back for his funeral next week. So I won't be seeing you for a few weeks. But
I'm
yeah,
very sorry. I'm very, very sorry to hear that.
But yeah, no, it's going to be sort of a celebration of his life. But I'll check in with you when I get back.
God bless, Jason. God bless. Well, Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida is on the side of the United States of America and law and order, and Democrats are not. The truth is that the Democrat Party has left the reservation. We had the death of Senator Joseph Lieberman yesterday, lifelong Democrat, but not a crazy person, not a nut. He was on the side of the United States of America. He ran for president with Al Gore, of course. He wasn't an anti-American lunatic. He was a Democrat who would sit down with his Republican friends and have rational and reasonable discussions. And when he and Al Gore lost the presidential election in the year 2000, Florida and the recount and dangling chads and all that stuff, he didn't lose his mind. He got on with life. Al Gore, on the other hand, lost his mind. And a few other things, too. But that's another discussion for another day. Now, Ron DeSantis, Republican governor of Florida, he is on our side. On the side of the United States of America, on the side of law and order, on the side of private property, which is a fundamental Western civilizational right that the Democrats really don't believe in anymore. Because they're not liberals, they're the left. And the left will steal everything that isn't nailed down and even if it is nailed down most of the time. Governor Ron DeSantis signs bill that cracks down on squatters in Florida. That sounds like a good idea, since the Democrats have turned this whole thing. We have this illegal alien who he's illegally in the country, and he's illegal, and everything he does is illegal because he's an illegal alien. And the Democrats love him because they love everything illegal, don't they? Now, this illegal alien posted videos with an explanation for illegals that they can move into people's houses and squat there, right? And the Democrats love this guy. I think he's actually on the run now, but he hasn't been caught because Democrats probably have an underground railroad, I think, for illegal aliens. But this guy posted videos and they're all over the internet. Say, yeah, I'm here illegally, and I'm gonna move into somebody's house when they're not home, and just stay there because the law shows us. And I shared the story with you a week ago or so in New York. A woman came home from Spain, living in Spain. Her mother owned a $1 million property in New York City, and the woman came home, and there were squatters living in there. She wanted the squatters out, but because New York is run by liberals, the police came and arrested the actual property owner, the woman who is a property owner, and that is the opposite of civilization. It's completely insane, of course. Now, the story on the migrant influencer, that's his title, urging illegals to squat in U.S. homes, is now on the run from authorities. Yesterday, the news was reported by Fox News. Lionel Moreno urges illegal immigrants on TikTok. And we know his name. We know who he is. The Venezuelan, where they emptied the prisons and sent all their gang members. Venezuelan TikToker who went viral last month after advocating, I would say, illegal immigrant criminals and urging migrants to squat in U.S. homes, is now on the run from immigration authorities, we learned yesterday, according to a new report. Lionel Moreno has claimed that his family, which includes his wife and young daughter, has received $350 a week in government handouts since entering the United States illegally. On top of that, he's claimed to be making $1,000 a day as a TikTok influencer. That'd be a lot of money. That'd be $365,000 a year, if I'm not mistaken, if he's a go-getter and gets out of bed in the morning. Now, he had 500,000 followers on his TikTok account, which is run by the Chinese communists, just by the way. His account appears to be inactive as of Wednesday morning. That was yesterday morning. Now let's go to Lionel posting his videos. Lionel Moreno.
My people, I have thought about invading a house in the United States because I learned there's a law that says if a house is not inhabited, we can expropriate it. I think that will be my next business. Invade abandoned houses.
That's his business will be being a criminal. And the Democrats are waving him in. He also posted a video bragging about collecting welfare checks and advising illegal aliens that they should produce a kid of some kind because the kid, whether it's yours or not, means more money in the form of checks and debit cards being given to you by the Democrats who are here to destroy the world. And this guy's he's a criminal. He's a criminal illegal alien. He says he's got a wife and a kid. He shaves his head. He looks like a gang member. And he should be arrested and catapulted into the sea, I think is probably the correct thing. Moreno, allegedly, he was taken into custody at one point and given an ankle monitor to track his whereabouts. He allegedly cut off his ankle monitor after receiving what the Biden administration calls border parole. And he's now listed as an absconder. He's absconded, you see. Immigration authorities call him an absconder. And the New York Post reported yesterday that he's an absconder and that Customs and Border Protection, or ICE, looking for him now. Lionel Moreno, migrant influencer, encouraging others to invade U.S. homes and squat in homes, is now on the run from U.S. authorities. But this is the Democrats' plan for the United States of America. It's the fundamental transformation of America that Barack Obama promised, because he doesn't like our country. He's not a good person. Barack Obama, that is. And he's not on our side. That's quite a remarkable story. Now let's go to Ron DeSantis, because Ron DeSantis has decided to be an adult and a governor and to be on our side. Governor Ron DeSantis signs bill that cracks down on squatters in Florida. The squatter scam ends today, he says. The dateline is Orlando, Florida. A local Fox station down there, Fox 13, Governor Ron DeSantis says squatting is a scam that violates private property rights and presumably the law. You know, you've stolen my house. You've stolen my home. Again, if you go and sit in somebody's car for 5 minutes, does it become yours? No, this is my car. I'm in it. By virtue of the fact that I'm sitting in your car, I'm in it. Let's go to a school and sit in a classroom and then declare the school to be ours. This school is mine. Just amazing. So Governor Ron DeSantis yesterday, he posted a video on X. I love that they still put in parentheses, formerly known as Twitter. For how many years is that going to take place? Every day's an IQ test, kids. You know, this is the news media. According to the video posted by the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, squatters commandeering homes have become an issue nationwide. Obviously true. He says the state will be putting an end to this scam. Governor Ron DeSantis.
What New York does, what California does, Florida will do the opposite. And so the squatter scam ends today with our legislation. Now in Florida, you call up, you fill out a form, sheriff comes, and the sheriff kicks them out of your property. If we don't have private property rights, we will not have a free society. So it is the bedrock. Florida stands by that. We're proud to do it. And you know, Sean, it's like yet another reason why people are going to choose to flee from the New Yorks and the California and end up coming down here to the Sunshine State.
Yet another reason. And again, I shared with you the story last week when the woman was arrested for going into her own home. Her mother had died. She went to claim her mother's home in New York City, and they arrested the homeowner and left the criminals inside. That is, what's that game where you stack the wooden blocks in a thing? Jenga. And you pull one thing out and the whole thing collapses. That's what squatting is. It's the end of civilization. And it's the left here to destroy the very concept of private property, of home ownership, because they're racists. I know, what does that have to do with it? Nothing, but you know, that's part of it. And it is what the Democrats are doing to the United States is like a game of Jenga. They're going after all of the fundamental building blocks of a civilized society, going after your children, going after gender, going after education, going after banks and any money transfer. What is it? $600 the federal government is involved. And when they come for private property and home ownership and say any criminal that, and they do it, they can break your back window, open the back door, move in while you're at work. They usually do it while somebody's on vacation or maybe it's a second home or something. And they move in and then you get there and they make up a lie. Oh no, I've rented this. I've got a contract. Where is it? Well, I can't find the contract. And we've seen this again and again if you've been watching the videos online. It's quite extraordinary. But it is a game of Jenga, and when private property rights no longer exist, then civilization is basically done. What does you work your whole life? I mean, it's obvious for almost everybody. It's the biggest purchase. Unless you're P. Diddy, maybe it's your Gulfstream jet. It's these are the fundamental building blocks of civil society and of civilization itself that the left is here to do away with, to dismantle. Everybody's a racist. The whole country is racist. Everybody's corrupt except them, of course, and in reality, they're the corrupt ones, and in reality, they're the racist ones, and so on. And now private property no longer exists. Then you got to take them to landlord-tenant court because they've been, eating your peanut butter in your kitchen for the last 2 hours. No, this is my house, not yours. Oh, okay. Break out the fire hoses. Man, I am telling you, just amazing. Now, DeSantis is obviously doing the right thing. This came up at the White House briefing last week, and naturally it was Peter Doocy with the Fox News channel. Otherwise, it's going to be James Rosen with Newsmax, formerly of the Fox News channel, who's now at Newsmax. I see James pretty much every day at Newsmax. And so last week, Peter Doocy asked Cringe Jean-Pierre about the squatters, this epidemic going on across country. Atlanta, Georgia, and more broadly in Georgia, it's a huge epidemic. In California, it's a huge thing. In New York, and you're stealing. Can you imagine? I mean, honestly, isn't this what firearms are for? There are people that have moved into your house and say, oh, no, this is my house now. Shift your feet, you lose your seat. And they want to steal your home. Most expensive thing you own in all probability. Peter Doocy and Cringe on this topic last week.
There is a Venezuelan migrant with 500,000 followers on TikTok who is telling border crossers they can live in empty houses in this country. Would President Biden support a law that would make that kind of squatting illegal?
I have not seen that TikTok video, so I can't comment on that.
Haven't seen that TikTok video. Haven't seen that. Really? You don't follow the news? This is one of the things I point out frequently because it's true. They don't follow the news. They don't know what's in the news. She's the White House spokesmodel. And I tell you what, ask Jake Tapper about it. He won't know about it either. Honestly. Ask Joyless Reed about it. She won't know about it either. All right, we don't have a ton of time, but let's go to a phone call. Let's go to Mark calling from Alexandria, Virginia. Marcus, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. Hey, you are exceptional at what you do, and thank you so much for doing it. I just wanted to ask you if you knew about the little-known law that if you overtake the Capitol building with flags for 24 hours, you take over the whole country.
Squatters' rights. Is that?
Yeah, squatters.
So the insurrection was successful. We own the country now. Flag-waving Americans who serve in the military and so own the country now. But we're being deprived of our squatters' rights.
Yes. You know what, Chris? It's just so absurd. What's right is now wrong. It's just amazing what's going on in this country.
That is a fact, Jack. There is no doubt about that. Yeah, January 6th was not an insurrection. It was a protest. It was mostly peaceful, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's what I would say.
That's what Ali Velci would say if he were just on the other side of the thing. But yeah, that's right. I mean, it was. And, the assaults on police have to be dealt with as assaults on police. But walking through the Capitol after the door is held open by the U.S. Capitol Police is not an insurrection. It's not a crime. Ashley Babbitt was shot and killed while unarmed after serving 12 years in the U.S. Air Force. And the Democrats applauded. Whereas there was a black police officer, Lieutenant Byrd, shooting a white woman, Ashley Babbitt. And the Democrats loved it because, the Democrat Party is very, very unwell. Whereas all their riots and the forced evacuation of the president and the first family from the residence in the White House during 3 days of riots by Democrats at the White House where they set on fire the Church of the Presidents, that was all great. That was First Amendment activity. See? Yeah, we live in funny times, and now somebody can just move into your house and the police will come arrest you. Illegal alien criminals will move into your house, and in New York at least, the police will arrest you. In Georgia, these laws have to be addressed. Governor Ron DeSantis is the first one through the door. I certainly hope that he won't be the last.
This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly, but fires have been started.
Now, Barack Obama has access to X, which he would tell you used to be called Twitter. When the left controlled it and trampled free speech, which they did with Twitter, until it was bought by a foreigner from South Africa who appreciates free speech and freedom of thought. Now, Barack Obama posted because Senator Joseph Lieberman died yesterday at the age of 82. Listen to Barack Obama's post. This is his homage to a lifelong Democrat, a self-described liberal who ran for vice president as Democrat in 2000 with Al Gore, right? And here's Barack Obama's post. Joe Lieberman and I didn't always see eye to eye. That's the opening sentence. Joe Lieberman and I didn't always see eye to eye, Barack Obama opens with. But he had an extraordinary career in public service, including 4 decades fighting for the people of Connecticut. Yeah. He also worked hard to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, gay military, transgender military. He helped us pass the Affordable Care Act. Yeah, that ruined health care in the United States of America. We had the greatest health care system in the world. In both cases, the politics were different. Were difficult, But he stuck with his principles because he knew it was the right thing to do. Michelle and I extend our deepest condolences to Hadassah and the Lieberman family. But wait a minute. You open with Joe Lieberman and I didn't always see eye to eye. Well, he was much more reasonable than you. And he was on our side. He was not anti-American. Just amazing. Also, I got to say, a big high five to Dave Portnoy, creator of Barstool Sports and stuff. Raised $750,000 for the family of the murdered police officer in New York. Just an amazing effort. And the 31-year-old Jonathan Diller, Dave Portnoy put together a fundraiser, $750,000 donated, and Dave Portnoy kicked in $750,000 himself, matching the donations. That's $1.5 million to the widow and the child of Jonathan Diller, the murdered police officer. Amazing job, Dave Portnoy.